Aloha, and welcome to Betty's Real Estate Corner, brought to you by Caldwell Banker, Sakamoto Properties. Now we have a very exciting day in the studio because Cindy Paulos is here with me, the queen of KAOI radio. And usually there's my husband, Roy, is here, or
special guests.
We had some special guests that we were thinking, but all of a sudden Cindy and I got together and thought we needed a day together here.
Well, I always love listening to your show, and this is just a nicer way to listen to your show while I'm in the studio with you.
We'll have some fun doing this. Hey, you know, one of the things I was just mentioning to you is that the new Home and Land magazine, you know, which is usually just pictures of homes, has been done. And the majority of the people that advertised, the magazine called everybody and tried to come up with, you know, they really wanted to publish, and nobody really wanted to do just house ads, and there's less inventory than there was. But it's really great. Everybody did something a little bit different, and we did the same. We came up with a place. We advertised, you know, some of our listings, and we, oops, I got the wrong one here. Yeah, this is the right one. And, you know, like Elizabeth Quayle put a beautiful ad in that basically welcomes everybody back to West Maui with open arms. And I know that is, as you know, an issue with a lot of people that don't want our visitors to be returning yet. They're thinking it's too early. I don't know the answer. I could take either side probably. But I think that a lot of people just want to work again. They want to work.
Well, and I was surprised just, I think, yesterday or the day before, I heard that there actually are more people in hotels that are the residents of the places that burned down than there are visitors.
Yes.
So they're still in the hotels.
They
more
are.
People, and they are going to be there. They said they provide for them through Christmas. And so that's nice for them to know that. They're not being threatened at all with having to move out. And I think that was part of the issue that people had. They were afraid. There's so much fear.
Oh, there is
You've seen the fear.
No question. And even the people, there's a lot of people that are being moved from place to place.
Yeah.
So even if they're in a hotel, and I don't want to say specific places, or certainly some of the condos that have taken in people, you know, then they might be in condo A until, you know, for 10 days or something, but then all of a sudden they're going to move to condo B.
Right.
Because someone's coming into condo A, maybe the owner.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 6 days later, they're asking them to move again, and they're all getting
when you take a
crazy.
trip, you always move from place to place. A lot of people don't stay on a trip for more than 2 days in a hotel room, or 3, as you know, as you travel. But, you know, it's a whole different mindset, and I think everyone's adjusting. But I was so touched by the fact that Whalers Village did a nice event for the keiki for Halloween. And they had music, too, good music. You know, George Kamoko played at Leilani's. And that one wasn't made too public. And I think on purpose, they kind of just wanted something for the local people to have for Halloween that was nice and a safe place.
I think you're right, but there were a lot of our visitors were there, and they were welcome, I would say, with open arms from most people. We didn't go, and I had actually, until you mentioned it today, I'd kind of forgotten that it was happening. But there are so many things. The Ritz Carlton, they have a really great setup there every night. Kind of, it's almost the lobby, but there's a huge lobby bar, and then lots of really good food. And that's been really jumping again. And it is local people, which it usually is. But it's local people, and then a lot of visitors.
And local music.
And local music, yeah. They have some great music there all of the time, and that's really perfect. But the food is good, everything's good. And we were there last night, and it was a great assortment of people. Yeah. And what we were also talking to one of the people that works there, who is the one who they've been forced to move a lot. You know, once they, you know, if you're not in the hotel at that point, and they've lost their house, and they're just trying to pull it together and stay here, and looking for a great rental. They're such perfect people. We've got somebody coming into town soon that has a condo that we're hoping will rent it to them for a year, just so that they could get situated and they don't leave. Because there's another problem. We are seeing that some of the best people here they aren't going to be able to rebuild for a long time. Yeah. and they're going to be shifted from place to place. They've got a couple little kids, and it's just not working for them.
Well, that's the biggest crisis we're facing. You know this. There was a housing crisis before this, and now with so many people's homes gone, the reality I'm sure is kind of hit them is that I can't build back on my land right now. This is going to be the issue that's the hardest thing for people to accept. Okay, I have this land, I own this land, but I can't build on it now, so what do I do? And I think that's where they're going to have to get a smaller home, or maybe you call them tiny homes or whatever, something for a part-time till you get, and maybe a year, what are they saying, a year, 2
well,
years?
No, it's more than that, I think.
Yeah.
But I think if our governments come together, our government comes together and figures out how they remove the debris or whatever we would call it now.
Yeah.
I mean, we had someone that told us, and I think we talked about it last week on the radio, that their parents and grandparents basically were buried on the property, or their ashes were. So before anyone came in there, they wanted to be sure that somebody helped them be sure that they got the ashes out. I think that they did find that they were pretty destroyed. I think they found part of it, but I think that's going to be a huge thing in many of the homes.
Yeah. That's a very, very big issue. And I mean, I know there's enough forensic stuff, and I don't know how much it would cost to be able to determine what is, human remains. I don't know how that would be put into place or if it's possible with everything. But I mean, you certainly want to honor that.
Oh, no question.
But when you think about it, if we could just change our mindset, how many times in the old days were people's family buried in the backyard?
Oh, everybody. I mean,
you buried your family in your home area.
I mean, when it used to be, I think you actually buried a casket or you buried a person.
Caskets are fairly recent. Did you know that? Just
I
couple
did,
years?
yeah.
And before that, it was actually, in England, Europe, and other places, the family was buried in your property.
Now, hopefully you had larger lots than they have in Lahaina.
Right.
Because it would be pretty difficult. But I think that could be, and I don't think it's this generation, probably not the last, that actually, I don't know. I really have no idea. I just know that in the case I heard, it's, more of the urn kind of thing, but people want to keep them close. And they knew where they were, but it all happened too quickly to end up.
It's got to be considered sacred ground.
It is sacred ground.
I mean, that I understand. It is sacred ground, and in a way, it's a way to honor them if you could figure out a proper way to do that with the blessing and maybe a above ground area that's protected and being able to be honored there and then build around that. But it's going to be, we're going to, this is going to be going on for a while.
And the lots, though, are very small.
Yes.
In most cases,
yes, that's true.
You couldn't really have a great area where you could make the burial site and have a spot around there that you could honor them.
Unless you could do a raised plantation-style raised area above it, like a raised home on,
Yeah, well, that's how a lot of the homes were to begin with.
Yeah.
But we should probably get off the idea of the burials.
I know,
but I'm sorry we got on it.
It's so hard, but it's
so
a reality.
hard.
It is a reality, and I think it's good to talk about it, Betty, because...
you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to have to talk about this. There's hard things that we have to change our attitude about to deal with it, I think, is the only way.
No, no question.
Christmas is coming next. Thanksgiving is so important. You love Thanksgiving, right? We all love Thanksgiving.
We all love Thanksgiving.
And it's going to be a time to try to change our focus again to what we can be grateful for.
Are you cooking a turkey this year?
Never.
Never? Okay.
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, but that doesn't mean you couldn't cook
two
one.
Two people in my family, only one eating meat. It doesn't make sense.
That's
I go
50%.
out to eat.
Well, that's a good idea.
There's some restaurants that are now open in your area, right?
There's enough, really. I mean, the Ritz is pretty much opening up. Roy's restaurant has opened up. Not the whole restaurant, but you can go there for lunch, and they've got enough tables. The service is great. The food is oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
We've been going there for lunch.
Yeah.
And lunch at Roy's is fabulous. It's so good. And
That's
everybody there, they're so friendly and happy again, to be working. It's great. Sea House at Napili Kai.
Oh, that's a beautiful place.
Yeah, they're open for 3 meals a day.
Wow.
And again, it's pretty much the same menu.
Now, I know the Cannery Mall isn't open yet, except for Safeway and Longs, but did Mala And Frida's down below did that?
No, they're okay,
Uh-huh.
but it's going to take a while for them to build too, I think.
The water.
Yeah, to get the water. And then they're going to have to figure out, I don't know. I mean, I could see them stopping the road right there for now.
Yes.
Because they'd be the only two places that I think, now I haven't been on Front Street either,
Yeah.
but they could open those up once they had the water figured out. And they are certainly, well, there are 3 restaurants there. Honu, which had been closed
Right.
because they were going to open a different restaurant. And then Mala, which is always the best.
And Frida's
And
became
Frida's-
the noodle.
Frida's is the one that, did I just say the wrong one?
No, you were right. You said Mala, Honu, and then Frida's was the other one that became Star Noodle.
No, not Frida's.
Oh, I thought
The
Frida's
Star
became
Noodle was separate.
Oh,
So there
okay.
were really 4.
Oh, good.
So there was, if you came along,
Yeah. Star Noodle.
if you came that way, Star Noodle,
Yeah.
and then Honu,
Yeah.
and then the right kind of attached almost
Right.
was Frida's,
Right.
and then Mala. And they were all fabulous, and they will be, but I don't know how they figure out the water issue. But I think they will. I think they'll get it done, and I guess the buildings
have
are
to.
okay.
I really hope they figure out a nice way to celebrate Thanksgiving up there for the whole community. For those that don't, wouldn't it be beautiful to have some central way to have a wonderful,
Yeah,
Thanksgiving celebration?
yeah,
The
it would
people
be.
providing a beautiful location with wonderful Thanksgiving meals.
I think there'll be something, but I think most of the hotels will have something great.
Yeah.
I think the church in Kahana, which I'm so sorry, I don't recall the name of it right now,
Yeah.
but I know that they have done so much for the community,
Yes,
and
they
so
have.
embarrassing I can't think of the name. But they've been wonderful. And they've had people there every day, that they've been helping and taking care of. And I think they were doing some sort of a mini school thing. They were helping with kids,
Speaking of schools, Lahainaluna, my gosh.
Oh, is that the great? I mean, it's so sad, but something now. They're undefeated in football.
Yay.
Undefeated.
There's so much pride.
There is so much pride. I mean, we've been
So
pretty
much
much
red.
So much red, exactly. One of the early games that we went to, which was on this side of the island, in Wailuku, and everybody wore red on both sides. It was the first game that they played, and I think it was Baldwin, and everybody was wearing red.
It was huge.
Yeah, it was huge, and every seat was sold.
And a lot of people crying.
Yes.
And tears of joy and pride as well,
The 2 teams sang
Yeah.
the Lahainaluna alma mater together.
It was a moment.
It was a moment.
Yeah.
It was really great, and each game has been the same. The Maui High
Yeah.
game, Kamehameha.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful.
And it's been good for the whole
for
group
everybody.
of people there and the whole community. Absolutely. Lahainaluna pride.
And the boys. I
yeah.
mean, and it still says right underneath the booth where they, where they're watching and telling what's happening, it still says this huge, fabulous sign that says Sue's Boys, to still respect Sue Cooley, who built the stadium.
Your friend.
Our friend. I mean, I miss her so much. And when we get back to the games, we'll always remember Sue. I mean, everybody would have that she didn't have to pay for a ticket.
Yeah.
She always wanted us to be sure she had a ticket.
Yeah.
Just she was the best. We all miss her, but what she did there is fabulous.
And isn't it, I'm so glad the school survived. My gosh,
Oh.
with the history and everything.
Yeah.
Just the fact at least that kind of pride and that huge history survived is so wonderful. And
It's
the
amazing.
firefighters were working as hard as they could to
They
try.
had to.
Yeah.
They had
Because
to.
it came pretty close. The fire was right around
Yes.
it.
Oh, yeah. There's part of the fence that's halfway down. Now, I don't know. I've never heard exactly what happened there, but it had something to do with a fire and water and
It did,
stuff that
yeah.
I think, I just don't know exactly what the final story was. But the boys, the football players, the coaches, Lanny Tejada, who will always be a coach at Lahainaluna. But Lanny is not, I don't know, he's just amazing. He's kind of Mr. Lahaina. He acts like he doesn't do anything. And he's Mikey's really grandpa. She calls him Pops. And Mikey Tejada. And they're such a wonderful family, and they lost their home.
Wow.
And again, the same thing. But he's so positive. I mean, they'll be rebuilding, and they're going to do it as soon as they can. And I don't know. He seems to be able to at least pull off the image of I've got this. And that's going to be hard for everyone.
That's going to be hard, but then if you have people you can follow. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Archie and so many people up there. And you know, this Saturday they're giving away 2,000 native trees, and they're featuring trees that are the Ulu trees and how to graft them. Ulu trees, breadfruit trees, don't have seeds. So you can't just plant a
No, I
seed.
didn't know that.
Yeah, but they'll show you how you can graft it from a branch, and they have gone and found the historic Ulu trees, the ones that can survive, trying to protect them. Some are 80 years old and some older. And so, you know, this is starting at 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock at the Maui Botanical. You can park at War Memorial for free. It's all free. But you can get 2,000 trees. And I know people, and I'm hoping people will get trees. It's not just Ulu. They have Ohia. They'll tell you which
But
is
how
good
can
for
they
your
do
area.
that now when they don't have a place?
You can still plant a tree if you have property.
They wouldn't let you go on your lot and plant a tree.
Oh, you couldn't plant a tree?
No, I don't
well,
think
these
so.
are just in
So maybe
containers. They're
maybe
in
you
containers.
take it where
They're
you
small.
are.
Yeah, you can still take care of them
Yes, but you can't
Yeah.
take it to your
and plant it at
no,
your place. Yeah,
no, because
but it can stay in its container, and
Yeah.
you can take care of it till wherever you do get settled.
yeah.
The trees are always a beautiful sign. I heard that the banyan tree starting. I saw a picture.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
with green growing back on the branches. You know.
yeah. They had that pretty much almost right away.
Yeah.
They were watching it really closely, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That it is growing and that it will survive. And hopefully they're right about that. They'll probably have to cut some of it down, I guess. I don't know. It'll be great to
they
see
have
how
special,
they do it.
Did you know Maui County actually has an arborist?
Yes,
Staff,
yes.
and so the arborists are working hard and bringing people over and honoring the trees that are so important, of course.
The trees on the main road, coming into
Yeah.
Lahaina.
Are those monkey pods?
No, these are regular palm trees.
Uh-huh.
And on one of the first days, somebody cut down a couple of them. And then I thought, I wonder if these would live. And then whatever happened, they stopped them. And I'm hoping that they're going to regrow. They don't look good, but I'm hoping that they do somehow
It's
survive.
pretty amazing how some of them do survive, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at places that have burnt down in the past and how when it gets the water and the rain, which we need so much of, I mean, the
Yes.
green will come back. And it's going to be a very challenging time. But I think, you've seen how people are having the positive and the good attitudes. You're seeing changes. You've seen evolution, right, over the last few months of people. You're really seeing the positive and good things that are happening.
I think people are trying. I think, when you've lost your house
Yeah.
and you've got 3 kids and you've been living in a hotel and they've been moving you from place to place, it's so hard for the families. And then, if nobody's been working and you're still making your mortgage payment, it's so hard. I mean, I can't imagine what everybody's going through financially. It's really a problem. But I think people are trying, and they're trying to hold it together. And, so often when we've talked to someone, they've said they do their best to keep the kids happy, so that they'll remember this as a good thing. I mean, if you want to say a good thing.
It's going to be a point where those kids are going to grow up and in 20 years from now go, I was there.
I was there.
I was there. That was a turning point. 20
Yep.
years, it's all changed. It's different. And it is going to be different.
It will be different.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully Front Street can still be Front Street. I mean, I think they may have to, some of the restaurants that hung out over the water, I don't know what's going to happen there.
They
I don't
are not
think
going to
they'll
be
do that.
allowed. I found out that they
Yeah,
can't.
that's what I've heard.
Because they were grandfathered in. I talked to someone from
Yeah.
and you are not going to be allowed, the ones right on the water over, because of the changing tides.
But
and
if it comes
rules.
back, and then somebody talked about moving, having a walking
Yes,
area,
I've heard that, yeah.
then the other restaurants could be where they are, even if they have to go back a little bit. Hopefully, everybody that had property will be able to
It's a big question.
run their business. Yeah,
It's a big question.
because otherwise, I think it's good. Oh, I don't know.
I know.
just think-
I'm trying to deal with them. And the thing you have to find is you have to, and the right people as
But
well.
everybody opinions right now.
I know.
You can't.
I
You
know.
really can't. You've got to just trust your own judgment and listen and know that it's your best
Yeah.
to do the right thing for people and to tell them the thing.
Yeah.
I think the Red Cross knows a lot. I think
They've
FEMA knows
been
a lot.
really good, yeah.
I think
Yeah, they do.
our mayor is working really hard, to
Let
see
the
to
body
it.
cams come out of what the police
Yes.
department
Yeah.
saw, and it was interesting seeing, you could feel what you saw. I mean, I heard someone the other day, a Hawaiian guy telling my friend that they're lying to people and 4,000 people died in Lahaina. It's like, no, So there are people saying things that aren't true, that don't make sense. So if you don't listen to things that make no sense whatsoever, don't listen.
That many people didn't die. I mean, it is horrible when you see the number of cars that were there.
Yeah.
And you've talked to so many people that ended up in the water.
Yeah.
They've searched for people. And I think, I mean, if there's a few more people that somehow come out, but I don't believe that.
No.
The night that it was all happening, the worst night, I remember we thought it would definitely be something like 1,000.
Yeah.
Because it was so scary, and you knew about the cars and you knew about people trapped in homes. But I think there were so many people that helped other people. There was a thing, the firemen and policemen were going door to door, which originally nobody gave them credit for. But I think they worked so hard to save people, to get people out of their cars, to tell them what to do. I think everybody struggled. And it's so easy to be critical of what somebody didn't do.
Well, you want to blame someone.
Absolutely.
You want to blame, and I've been hearing that. And there were mistakes made.
Of course.
And I'm hoping that I hope some of these people that did make mistakes in the positions of power can say they're sorry. I'm hoping at some point they can say they're sorry.
Yeah, I hope so. But I also think that in a way, they did their best. I mean,
did?
You don't always have to say you're sorry because you did your best. I mean, you did everything that you could do, everything you were told to do. If you think how people, like one person told someone they could go through, another person said you can't. You've got to turn around.
Yeah.
But they were each getting their information somewhere.
That's the problem.
It wasn't the man on the street, the policeman, the fireman.
They were following orders.
That's right. Our firemen, our policemen, I think, were dedicated to the job, are heartbroken about whatever didn't go right, and should be thrilled at everything that went as good as it could do. And the number of people that are alive in the small, although if it's your person, it's horrible, but the small count that are deceased, I mean, let's all pray for them and take care of their families.
I have been going up to Ia Valley. I've probably gone about 50 times, and I'm going again today to say prayers up there. It takes that, and at least if you feel like you can do something. If you can give money, give. If you can pray, pray. If you can do something nice for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Maui Food Bank still needs help. So many people still need help. Giving helps you feel better, I think.
I think it does, too. I think everybody needs something. Some people are getting everything they need because they've worked hard and they've figured it out. Other people almost don't want anything because they've always taken care of their own family, and they're not asking for anything.
Right.
But they deserve it, too, and they deserve... I mean, let's all, if nothing else, be sure over the holidays we hand out as many hugs as we can. If we have something that we can give, do it. I mean, if we know someone that we can take, I don't even know what, a basket of fruit.
That aloha in any way you can give it is really important.
Give aloha. Give aloha any way you can.
Aloha will survive.
And in 1 minute, we will have Danny Couch back here saying, I love Hawaii. And I love Hawaii. Yes.
I love you, too. You're wonderful. You're
Thanks.
A real treasure. I love you, Betty.
Well, I love you, and thank you, Cindy, for being a part of this today.
Aloha.
Aloha.